Today I'm flying from Paris, France to Dallas, Texas. It's a 9-hour flight, and I'm going to watch some of the new release movies on the plane. The first movie I saw was Saw X, the newest Saw in the Saw franchise. I thought it was one of the best movies in the Saw franchise, maybe like the third best one, and Tobin Bell gave a great performance, as always. And after the movie, somewhere over Ireland, because the movie was so bloody, I opted not to pick the meatloaf entree and instead went with a little salad and some wine, of course. For the second film, I decided to watch The Holdovers, starring my old friend Paul Giamatti, who I once met at a Delta Sky Club. It's from the same director, Alexander Payne, as who had done Sideways. But this movie was very different from Sideways. It was a little heavier, not as much comedy as that earlier one. Pauly G gave one of his best performances, and I may have even cried a little at the end. But yeah, great movie overall. So I was still 5.5 hours from my destination in Dallas and decided to see another movie, and this one was The Adults, starring Michael Cera and the girl from It. In this movie, Michael Cera plays a character named Eric, who is a man-child with really bad facial hair, who all he cares about is airline miles, hotel points, and gambling. Remind you of someone? Well, I can't think of anyone else like that either. Overall, I really enjoyed The Adults. I thought it was a sort of chamber piece of good performances. It was a very human drama, but it had some humor in there too. Pretty good movie. And speaking of airline miles, I had been able to redeem enough American Airlines miles to get this round-trip flight to Paris for free. So it was a free trip and free movies, so I was having the time of my life. And so, with about 4 hours left in the trip, I watched the only movie that I knew could fill all 4 of those hours, Oppenheimer. It was very Christopher Nolan-y, had great visual effects, and, some amazing music. But it was also about 2.5 hours of, old guys talking to each other in war rooms or whatever. Overall, I thought it was a little too long, but a pretty good movie nonetheless. And so, for this flight, I give 2 wine glasses up to Saw X, which I thought was the best of the 4 movies I had seen. Well, we finally landed in Dallas. Can't wait for the next selection of new release movies on my next flight. Thanks for joining me.